Hello friends, welcome to today's session. So with very few days left in our hand just before the UPSC Prelims 2017. So we must right now think about how much smart work we can do rather than hard work. So we have been hearing this term smart work ever since all of us have got into this UPSC preparatory mode. But like I would like to describe today what exactly we mean by smart work. So I would like to give an example so that it becomes very clear. For example, like if you are reading, suppose polity, so you are reading about certain bills like constitutional amendment bill, the land boundary, this separation, article 3. So for that you need to remember whether the bill can be introduced in either house of the parliament, or who can introduce a bill, like the minister or a private member, and then by how much majority, like the special, absolute, or ordinary majority, it is going to be passed. So these are some of the main points that you should remember about a bill rather than going into too much details at this moment, because if we just go treat anything and everything right now, we won't be able to cover the entire syllabus, and we might go to the exam happy and satisfied that okay, I have completed this portion very thoroughly. But I would like to tell one thing, that UPSC is not a game of learning anything and everything. It's a game of just carrying away the show that day. Okay, so you have to prove yourself on that day, on that very paper, irrespective of how many tests you have given and what your score was, whether you could get above 100 or below 100, or it doesn't matter. So what matters is that what you will do on that particular day. So let us start as I have already told you, there are two divisions. First of all, according to me, the static part and the current affairs part. Now in the static part, as we have discussed in earlier videos, we have the polity, geography, environment and ecology, the science and tech, history, economics. So these are the broad pillars. Now science and tech, I would like to say, do not go into the static part much, because questions usually don't come from the static part. So we should focus on the current affairs part. Now for the current affairs part, just get a booklet of any institute right now at this moment, and just go through it. Give one full day to science and tech, current affairs, and just mug up everything as much as you can. Like do not go into too much specific things, like suppose they are asking about a particular mission or a particular satellite or a missile, so you must know whether it is a surface to surface, surface to air, or whether it is subsonic, whether it is supersonic. So these are some of the points which you should know, rather than going into the very much details about that particular missile or particular whatever thing they're asking about, because UPSC generally doesn't ask too much details. If at all they are asking, then it's better to leave that question, because if you don't know the exact number, because last year I think they asked something and they just gave the range, some kilometers they gave, and if you do not remember the entire thing, then it's better to skip that, because you are bound to make a mistake. So science and tech, you can just take one full day, take up the booklet and cover up the entire thing. So that goes with science and tech. Next we come to the economics part. Now for economics, as I have already told you, please read the economic survey and the budget. You cannot sit in the exam without reading that. It will be like taking too much risk, because now we should think that what are the areas which we should cover, at least try to cover before going to the exam, so that our risk is minimized, because there is always a risk because the syllabus is too large. It's very difficult to complete, but we should think that how the risk can be minimized. So economics, science and tech, these are main pillars. Then comes another very important pillar, that is the polity. It's important not because just questions come from there. It's important because you can, if you read at least once or twice, you can remember and you can just mark the correct answer, because usually they tend to ask straightforward questions from this polity, because there is nothing to twist. Now what is written in the constitution is already written in the constitution. You cannot just twist, turn, or do anything to that. So you, if you just go through, like for example, the citizenship chapter of the polity book, suppose for example, so there you have to you do not have to go into the details, like in the case of acquiring the citizenship by birth. So there are a lot of details, like the July, the all those who have been born before July 1987 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. So do not go into such details, like remembering dates and all this. You just remember that, okay, someone who is born in India, or whose parents were citizens of India at the time of birth, or either of the parents or both the parents were citizens of India at the time of birth, or uh, one of the parents was citizen of India and the other one was not an illegal migrant. So these are some of the criteria that are given over there. So you should just mug up that part and leave the rest. So do not get into too much details. Okay, so this was just an example. And then there are the headlines which you should always remember, like there are these are the crux. You will see that it has been highlighted in the book itself. So like for example, a person who is a citizen of India, as well as the person who has acquired the citizenship by naturalization, can contest for the position of the president of India. Because like see, where things are very simple, very normal, like if you read it, it's logical that the options are bound to be like this. So UPSC doesn't like to cover up those parts, because anyone can easily answer. So just remember that this is an exam of elimination. It is not an exam of selection, because lakhs of candidates are filling up the form every year for UPSC. And this all such competitive exams are always exams of elimination. So they are trying to eliminate you. You have to get in, and that's the boundary. So what you have to think is that you have to be very quick in revising, and as well as you have to be very thorough with the crux, like where they can just pull you down. Because if you do not read that part, if I give you a question that a person who is a citizen of India can only contest for the election of president, for the position of president, but the person who has acquired citizenship by naturalization can also do that. So here is the crux. Next thing about polity is that you should make a list. Just make it in your own copy for last moment revision. Which are the bodies which are judicial, constitutional, independent, and quasi-judicial? So I will give you an example, like for like the independent bodies, like, so make a list: Election Commission, CVC, CIC, okay, UPSC, SPSC. So just write them down one after the other in your copy, so that whenever you see, okay, so these are the bodies which are independent, you just see them at a go and it stays in your mind. So these are some of the tips. You can try anything which you think is fruitful, but I'm just giving some tips. Next, we have covered the science and tech, economics, and the polity part. So we now come to the geography part. Okay, so before we move on to the geography part, I would like to say one thing, that for economics, as economic survey and budget is very important for the current affairs part. So you just try to pick up the important terms over there, like for example the masala bond and all this type of terms, because they have a tendency to ask questions like masala bond is related to, and they will give you just simple options. So if you, even if you have read it once, you can just mark it. So these we cannot afford to miss this type of questions, because there will be some questions which will just be like, okay, I have never read it, I have never even heard about it, so where was it? You will just think about all these things in the exam hall. But the thing is that there will be some a simple questions, so we have to grab them in order to just get ourselves through the cutoff marks. And then okay, so for the polity part, what I can say is that the current affairs is not so much important, because you see, even if you get any booklet of any institution, you will find that mostly it contains the static part, like whatever you have read, because any body, any position, anything which comes in the news, if we relate it to the constitution, so like for example, if there is a news about the president of India, then the chapter on president of India becomes important. But it's nothing like in current affairs there is something about the president, and then in constitution something else is written, so this cannot happen. Okay, so you don't need to focus too much on the current affairs part for the polity. Then we move on to the geography part. Now geography, the current affairs part of geography, it's already covered in the environmental section. Okay, it comes with that, so there is nothing separate like this is geography, this is environment. So for geography you have to go through the static part, especially the cyclone, the El Nino, the La Nina, and all this, because these all has been in news. Okay, next thing is that the map, the world map and the India map. So both are important, and especially the cities which have been in news like Aleppo, okay, and Idlib. So these are some of the places which have been in news. Then we come to the continents, like the Africa and all this, because a lot of things have been going on, negotiations, trade and all this. So these becomes important from the map perspective. And then the India map, so you must be thorough with the rivers, especially for this year, because what I feel is that they are talking about the Ganga rejuvenation and this Brahmaputra and all this. So these are constantly in news, so you must know all this. And then the tribes, okay, the mountains, the Himalayas, the greater Himalayas, the trans Himalayas, and all this. So you have to go through the static part. And then after the map is over, you can just shift to the ecology and environment part. Now in the ecology and environment part, what I would like to say is that the book, that is the Shankar IS book, which we all read. So there just the first 5 to 6 chapters, be very thorough with them, because they contain definitions like what is ecology, what is this ecosystem, and all this. So there what you have to think is that like you have to be very thorough with these definitions, just the definitions, understand what is ecotone, what is edge effect. Okay, so these are some of the things. And then read about the forest types in India, that's very important. And then another thing is that you just read about the global warming, the greenhouse effect. So these are some of the chapters which I think are important, and if you do not have time you can skip the rest, but you cannot afford to skip these chapters. And after you read this front chapters of the book, just turn immediately to the last chapters of the book. They are important, like they will tell you about the Vienna Convention, about the COP, this 21, 22 and all this. So these things again you will just if you read the last few chapters, it will take you from the static to the current part, and you will understand the current part, that is what's the Montreal Protocol, and why this Paris Climate Change Agreement, why this COP 22 in Morocco. And then you will understand. If you do not read these last chapters and directly you jump to the current affairs part, so that will create a problem in understanding. Every time you have to go and Google like why these things happened and all this. So this is for the environment and ecology part. Next comes the history part. Now I would say that for the history part, please read modern Indian history at first, complete it in one day. Or like if you have read it once before, you can complete it in one day, and make short notes like what happened in the Regulating Act Pitt's India Act, just the important points, 2 3 important points. If you read it by yourself, you can understand that questions can be framed from there. Otherwise there is no part of framing the questions. Like it's very difficult. I wouldn't say no part, I would say it's very difficult. So you just go through, just run through, and especially the socio-religious reform movements, the name of the person, what's the name of the movement, and 1 or 2 points what he has done in that particular movement. So just make one list and run through, and the list should be about 1.5 page or something like that. Another thing which I missed in the ecology part is that you should be thorough with the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the biosphere reserves. Again, they are given at the back of the Shankar IS book. So the table, the list is given there, the Ramsar sites. So you must remember those tables. And another thing, again, it's given in the same book, the critically endangered, the endangered species, okay, the vulnerable species. You must remember their name, the place where they belong, okay, and like why they have been endangered, because some have been endangered because of their the feathers in their body, like, or the wool that is used for making clothes and all this. And some other becomes critically endangered because of hunting, poaching and all this. And then so you must be thorough with this list also. Next, again, switching over to the history part. So first you read the modern Indian history, and then you can skip the medieval part, I would say, like if you are not prepared properly at this moment. So you can skip the medieval part because it has lots of terms and it's usually very difficult for a person to remember. But if you are thorough already, you can just revise. Then comes the ancient part. So before going to art and culture, please read the ancient part, because if you read the ancient part, then it will be very easy for you to cope up with the art and culture part. Now for the art and culture, again, do not go too much into the static part, move to the current part. Like what are the dances which have been in news very recently? Because see, like you might be thinking that, okay, I will read all types of dances, and at the end of the day you might forget which dance belongs to which place. So it's better you read the current part, because there is a greater possibility of that dance being asked which is there in the current news. So this is like, I think as per the trend that has been shown by UPSC till now. So okay, so then the art and culture part is over for us, and then we are left with the two things. So the schemes, the government schemes, which are very important. You must remember each and every scheme, because like yeah, I know it's not possible, but as far as you can, the important ones, especially like the Pradhan Mantri Janani Suraksha Yojana, and then Ujjwala Yojana, and all this. So these schemes you must remember, like under which ministry and what is the exact purpose. So one or two lines, bus, that's it, not more than that, because it's not possible to remember all the schemes. Then give one full day to the international relations. So that is very important, and do not go into, there is nothing called static part in IR. You just read the current affairs part, okay, like with Pakistan what happened, and with China what happened, and what are the deals with Africa, okay. And then some of the important corridors like the CPEC, okay, and the Silk Route, the One Belt One Road. So these things have been in news. And some organizations you should be aware, like the NATO, it has been in news, the European Union, and all this. What are the, how many members and who are the members? Now see, if suppose you are reading about a particular organization and you have written that it's written over there that 194 countries are its members, it's not necessary to remember 194 countries. We cannot do that, okay, no human being can do that, it's very difficult. So you just remember who are the founding members in that case, okay. But if you see that an organization has only 10 members or 20 members, then you remember the names, okay. So there is the crux again, okay. So I think if you do this much, and there is time for doing this much, and there is a lot more time than doing more than this, and just keep giving test, at least one test per day. And after you give the test, the mistakes you make, you just run through them, and just rectify yourself then and there, because like if you give the test and if you do not rectify your mistakes then and there, keep it for the later part, you will forget again, because right after giving the test you remember that okay, so this was the question and I had guessed this answer, but it's wrong. So keep giving one test every day. Okay, so I think that's sufficient. That will do. Like if it has to do, you if you think you will qualify, you will qualify. No one can stop you. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.